Manhunt might have been known first and foremost for its unbridled gore and over-the-top execution sequences, but underneath all the controversy was a surprisingly solid game. With its gripping story and sound stealth mechanics, it's no wonder that when a sequel was announced in 2006, one could only fathom what new heights in both controversy and gameplay it might achieve. In comes Manhunt 2, which tells the story of Daniel Lamb, an imprisoned scientist turned psychotic killer. When chaos erupts one night in prison, Daniel sees his chance to escape. A few minutes in, we find out that Daniel isn't quite himself because he really has two personalities. There's Daniel, the mild-mannered scientist with good intentions, and then there's Leonard, the killer. To say it's a Jekyll and Hyde situation would be inaccurate, because unlike Jekyll and Hyde, these two personalities are fully aware of one another. They bicker back and forth and constantly question each other's actions. It's a strange and totally overbearing plot device, but the excellent voice acting and decent script combine to deliver a rather compelling, if not wholly cliched, series of clashes between the two. It's funny Rockstar chose to go this route though, because the whole split personality theme really is representative of the game itself. Manhunt 2 is all about delivering more. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it unfortunately proves that more doesn't mean better. There's more weapons, enemies, kills, and new stealth mechanics, all of which are good, but there are also more oversights, such as unskippable cutscenes right after checkpoints. There's also much more of an emphasis on shooting, as the entire middle third of the game throws out stealth entirely, forcing you to run at times and pop and shoot at others, like Gears of War. And that's too bad, because a third-person shooter, Manhunt 2 is not. The cover system is, for the most part, garbage, as they simply tacked it onto the existing control scheme, which relies on you being able to lose retarded enemies by running around corners. And if an enemy is more than 50 feet from you, they're impossible to hit. And since there's no melee attacks with the guns, if they ever get right beside you, you might as well pause and hit restart at last checkpoint. You will die a lot in Manhunt 2. A lot more than you really should, and this really lends to the game being needlessly frustrating at times. Now, for those of you who are unaware, the game is heavily censored. The ESRB was going to slap it with an adults-only rating, that's AO, if they didn't censor it, and as such, no retailer would carry the game, like Walmart. They just don't sell AO-rated games. So how does the censoring affect the game, if at all? Unfortunately, I honestly believe it renders the game flat-out unplayable. When you go in for a kill, you hold the action button down, and over the next few seconds, the icon turns from gray to yellow to red, each color representing a different level of brutality. The problem lies in the way these kills are censored. Beginning right when you start holding the button, the screen gets blurry. I'm talking unseeably smeared, as though someone took a handful of Crisco and slapped your screen.
Kill him!
While this is going on, you lose all depth perception while behind an enemy, and the chances that you will fuck up a kill by simply bumping into them is astronomically high. Now, I know that Rockstar was forced to censor the kills, but the ESRB is not to blame for this. The Punisher game a few years back ran into much the same problem, but in that game the kills were only dumbed down to being black and white, and it left the overall integrity of the game intact. Now, Rockstar didn't have to censor the game this way, but it seems like they were just intent on giving the middle finger to the ESRB, and as a result, they completely ruined their game. Now, really, it's just flat out ridiculous, and based on this alone, I cannot recommend this game, despite it having a few really enjoyable sections. Now, if you can play this game uncut, meaning you have the ability to hack your Wii, PS2, or PSP, that's a different story altogether. I'm not going to tell you how to do this, but rest assured, if you really want to, you can find how to do it without much of a problem. Google is your friend. So to say Manhunt 2 is a bit of a disappointment is perfectly fair. Uncut, it's not a bad game by any stretch. In fact, I like it better as a stealth game on the Wii than I did Tenchu Shadow Assassins. The kills are unbelievably brutal in some cases. I mean, you will feel dirty. And the 480p and widescreen support is a nice touch. Also of note is the awesome soundtrack. The ambient noises coupled with the right music at the right times always makes for a pleasant audio experience, and the surround accuracy using ProLogic 2 is also top-notch. One complaint I have, the pre-rendered cutscenes are shown in stretched 4:3 and look awful in comparison to the endgame ones. I really hate stretched video, so I had to mention that. Anyway, if you have the means to play this game uncut and you can handle the violence, give it a look. If you can't though, this one's gotta be relegated to the trash heap. Rockstar's ridiculous censorship method really kills what is otherwise a decent romp through insanity.